Okay, we're live. Welcome everyone to episode number 25 of Inside the Junior Reign. This episode is called Enjoying the Ride in Your Youth Hockey Career. I am Junior Reign Club President Ben Frank. With me as always is our Chief of Hockey Operations, Paul Esdale. Paul, good to have you today.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
As always, guys, whether you're watching live or via the replay, we really appreciate your comments, your shares and likes. If you're watching via the replay, give us a thumbs up, give us a comment or a question in the comments section, and we'll be sure to get right back to you, whether we're doing that live or in the comments section there. So in today's show, enjoying the ride in your youth hockey career. Last week, we're kind of continuing on what we talked about last week. Last week, we talked about how to increase and improve your odds in achieving your dreams, achieving your goals in youth hockey. We talked about deciding what is it that you want out of this. Setting that goal, whether that's maybe it's college hockey, junior hockey, professional hockey, and then reverse engineering that back to where you are, to what are the steps, and understanding the pathways and steps you need to take to get to your goal. Do I need to go from A to double A? Do I need to go to triple A? How do I go to junior hockey? What are the different levels of, we talked about the different levels of junior hockey, tier 3, tier 2, tier 1, different levels of college hockey, what ages you need to get to each, and when's it important to get exposure, and when's it important to focus on your development, all those things, which can make a massive difference. So go back and watch that show if you haven't yet. Make a massive difference in your ability to achieve the goals that you have versus just a general goal of I want to play pro hockey. How do we actually make those steps in place? But regardless of what those goals and the pathways we set, we know just as in life, right, not everything goes according to plan. So even with the best set plans, the most detail, not everything's going to go according to plan. We can't predict everything that's going to happen. So what do we do when things don't go according to plan, when adversity hits, when things happen that we didn't maybe anticipate, and how do we handle that, and how does that affect the overall experience towards hockey, and how does that affect continuing to pursue that path and plan and making adjustments as we go through that plan? Because we know that these things will happen, regardless, things that we can't predict, things that we can't plan for are going to happen, and how are we going to react, and how are we going to think about and perceive that when those things do happen. Paul, did I do a good job introducing that?
Yeah, it's good. You didn't. Are we right side up here today?
I mean, I'm going to double check here if we're showing live here.
Yeah, it's a continuation because it's a big topic, and we talked about where some of the dreams are and the goals are that people want to go to. But let's talk about the here and now, the moment, right? And I think that sometimes we have all these great dreams and results we want to accomplish, whether you're taking it just from a smaller micro version of a hockey game, or a bigger macro version of your whole hockey career, your hockey, where you're taking that. So I think it's important that we really enjoy that process and really understand it and not take it for granted, because I think we get ahead of ourselves sometimes in all the things we want to happen, and then some things take us off course, and it's the end of the world, it's this or that, and which really we know in life and in athletics, there's always the development curve isn't just from here straight up, right? And it's going to be up and down, windy, bumpy here, there, that. And understanding what development is and enjoying that process along the way is important. Right.
So we sit down, we define what our goals are for our hockey experience, right? Do we want to just have fun, meet new friends, play a game, enjoy it? Do we want to pursue the goals? We've also talked in past shows about not eliminating the dream for kids too. Just because a kid's a smaller, less underdeveloped 7-year-old, or a kid that started hockey a little bit later than his peers at 9 years old, his or her peers, doesn't mean that they can't be the one that makes the NHL. So we want kids to dream. We want, if a kid says, I love hockey, I want to play in the NHL, I want to play for Team USA at the Olympics, I want to play for North Dakota in college hockey, let's let them have that dream, because who are we to tell them that that's not doable for them? Because there's a lot of people that would have said that things were impossible, guys that go undrafted in the NHL that go on to be stars and things like that. So let's let them have that dream. Let's lay out a plan for, okay, this is where you want to go. Do you understand the work that it takes to get there? And here's all the plan. And look, you're not going to go to the NHL at 12 years old. It's not about being the top player then. It's about how do we get there. And then once we have this plan together, so we say, okay, this is the dream. This is where we want to go. This is what we have to do to get there. Now knowing that this plan is a starting point, right? And now we're back, like you said, Paul, now we're back down to the here and now. Okay, so these things are going to happen. So let's come up with some examples of some things that are going to happen that we didn't plan for in this plan, and then we're going to need to continue to come back to this plan and make adjustments as we go along.
Right. And I'll get to examples in one sec, but the dream is real and the dream should be there. That has to be, sometimes it's a driving force for people, right? And it should be for a lot of kids if they have the passion and they love the game and they have that dream. That's going to drive them a lot. So it's important to have that. So it is really real. Mm-hmm. And these dreams are attainable. Yeah. There's millions of stories of people against all odds persevering, right? And we laid out a set structure or a formula to get there. But once again, it may not go to all fruition of how we want it to go, right? It may not happen. It may not go through. There's going to be bumps and bruises along the way, and it may not go exactly as planned. But if you don't have a dream and you don't have some sort of set plan in place, then there's no chance at all. Right. The dream, the plan gives you the opportunity. That's all we're creating. But within that opportunity is what we call is the process, and that's where the work is done to achieve and accomplish the dream, right? So talking about the moments now is really important, and really to enjoy these parts of this process is important, critical for people's success in whatever you're doing, right? So adversity that comes up right away is, if I think smaller picture, is, not making the team. So I'm trying to play on this higher level team and I get cut. So what does that do? And we've seen, I've gone through it myself.
I've gone through it.
And we've all gone through it, and we've seen how certain people handle it. There's a couple of ways to handle it, right? So you're going out for this team, whatever age group, and you don't make the team. Well, what I've seen some guys go, some paths they take is, well, right away, that's very upset, arguments with the coaches.
Not fair.
Not fair. Blame everyone else and pull them from the program, pull them from the sport, or even worse. Yeah. Right? So they don't know what they're doing, blah, 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 pull them from the program. Right? And sometimes that may be accurate to do, because I have my own personal story where I was cut and it didn't fit and it wasn't the right spot for me, and I went elsewhere and it worked. Right? But sometimes that's wrong as well, right? Because you're not allowing your child to fight through the adversity and learn the life lessons that, hey, sometimes you're not going to make the top team. Why didn't you make the top team? Was it fair that you didn't make the team? Was it unfair? So identifying that. If it's fair, okay, what do I need to work on to make that top team? Now finding the solutions, getting a plan together to improve, to make that. If it wasn't unfair, why wasn't it unfair, right? And then understanding that, okay, if it's unfair, playing in this program, does it give me an opportunity to prove these people wrong? Right? And that's a lot of things that spurred my hockey development, was to prove people wrong.
Well, Michael Jordan talks about that a lot too, right? His whole career is motivated by
motivated because people always told him, you can't do it, right? And that was always with me, was you're too small, you'll never play at a high level. And that fueled me to persevere through all those people that said I couldn't do it, right? So I think that's understanding that and having that balance and really, really seeing the lessons that can be learned from tough things that happen in your life, tough adversity, not making the team, not doing this, and having the awareness of a parent of that, instead of these knee-jerk reactions of, we all want a guide, we all love our kids, we want to protect them, right? But we also want to we don't want to hide them from learning life lessons and being able to handle adversity, because we know down the road when they're living on their own, something happens, we want them to be able to have the experience to, hey, he says I can't do this. Well, let me think through this. I can do this. I know I can do this, because I remember when I was cut from, that still fuels me today when someone says I can't do something. When I was 15, 16 years old, I was told I couldn't, and I proved people wrong. That still makes...
And if you would have quit hockey and then never done that, how much confidence would you have to be able to do that again?
Yeah, would have proved those people were right.
Right.
So it's having the balance and the perspective as a parent or a coach or whatever it is to not hide our children from this, but just make sure we're there for support. And that's why a critical support system is really important for this youth hockey experience and in life, is that we're guiding our children, but exposing them to these things that will help develop them in the long term down the road.
The challenging things, right? Yeah. And what I'm hearing you say, Paul, is too, we talked about this before the show as well, is at the end of the day, right, for all the parents out there and also for the coaches and the administrators, we want hockey to serve these kids, right? We want that to give them something, whether that's achieving their dreams and goals, memorable experiences, family special memories with the family, growth and development by facing challenges and these things. We've talked about these two major things that have to happen, right? Number one, we talked about the dream and the goal, having the dream, having the goal. And we've heard it said a lot of other places, like if you set your sights very high and then you just barely miss those things, you can still have some amazing things happen versus not setting those sights high. So for me, for example, we talked about, right, my dream was to play in the NHL. My dream was to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I didn't make the NHL. But that dream, that love for hockey and a dream to play hockey made me work extremely hard, play hockey all the time, try to get better all the time, and it led me to play junior hockey and college hockey and travel around the world and be in California now and doing what I love in hockey. And if I didn't have that dream that I was trying to pursue, none of those other things would have happened, right? I think a lot of us have these similar types of experiences. And then the other side of it, like you said, actually the here and now, my memories of hockey are amazing memories. My memories of driving to the game with my parents coming to watch me play, the friends that I've met, all the experiences that I've had in life are positive things because that process of trying to get there was a positive thing for me, even though it wasn't always easy, even though I was cut and had injuries and these things as well.
So yeah, it's like, what can we learn from this situation? Not just what can the player learn, but what can the parent or coach learn from these situations is important. It comes back to that growth and fixed mindset stuff, is that these things are going to happen in our lives and our hockey careers, and not every plan, or there's no secret formula. It's not all going to go smoothly, right? But it's how we look at them, and it's how we react. It's not necessarily the situation; it's how we react to them. And that's, I talk about in everyday life. It's how you react, how you handle these things. So it's important that you follow. You get to the real heart of your purpose. I think that's really important, and sometimes we forget about that. We have this goal. Right? What is your real driving force? What is your driving force? What is your purpose? Why do you want to do this? Hockey is just the vehicle. Right. Really, at the end of the day, we know the numbers, the percentage of kids that are going to play in the national hockey at the highest level is very small. It's like 0.001. Something really, it might be 0.001. It's really small. Doesn't mean you can't have that dream, right? It doesn't mean you won't play in the NHL either, right? It doesn't mean you can't play junior hockey or college hockey. But there's got to be a bigger purpose than just put all your eggs into one basket. Like, it's college hockey, college scholarship or bust, right? And that's it. And if he doesn't make college hockey, doesn't play junior hockey, doesn't make the AAA team, doesn't make the AA team, or then that's a complete failure. Yeah. Complete failure. It may be a failure in that they didn't make that particular team, but it's not a failure in your whole hockey career. It's an opportunity. That's how you have to frame it. It's an opportunity to learn from the failure, right? So what can I learn from getting cut from a team? Well, there's a million things you can learn from me. Okay, I need to improve, number one, right? I need to put more work in. I gotta get tougher. I gotta get faster. I gotta get, all these different things. I gotta improve my skill set. I gotta improve my communication skills. I gotta become a better leader. I gotta be a better teammate. All these things, instead of blaming someone else for your not making the team, it's really looking within, saying, how can I put myself in a position where a coach, administrator, whatever it is, can't say no to me, right? And it goes back to my story of how I got into junior hockey coaching, right? It's like, I knew I wanted to coach, and I was involved in the game, and I loved the game, right? And I sent out my resume to every hockey club in North America, like everyone, over 600 people, right? And because I knew I had value to give, and I knew I could give back to the game. I didn't necessarily know where I was fitting and all that stuff, so I just put the work in. It's the same in the players, is right. We can't have this end goal of, I want my child to play college hockey, and then expect them to play college hockey and do 2 hours of practice a week, and then when I get cut from the team, make a big scene about it, and then pull them to another program and then another program and play on 5 different teams before I'm 12 years old. I don't think that's actually going to get him there or she there, right? So it's having the perspective and purpose of knowing that, hey, this is going to be challenging. I have my goal. It's going to be a long process, and we know the odds are challenging, right? But we have this structure. We have this plan. We know we're going to have to adjust a little bit. We're going to get good guidance from the right type of people that are in it for the right reasons, and we're going to go head on with it. And we're going to know there's going to be bumps. There's going to be failures. There's going to be injuries. That's another thing we haven't talked about. There's going to be these things, these cascading things that happen to us. How are we going to look at it? How are we going to handle it? How are we going to help guide our child for their experience and what they get out of the game? And I think sometimes we we as coaches, we get our egos involved and we think it's about us. And really it's not about us. It's about the experience the kids have and where they can take with it and what they can learn from this platform.
And what I'm hearing you say, Paul, I think too, is just that it's something it needs to be intentional, right? It needs to be a conscious, intentional plan. You talked about what is the purpose that hockey is going to play in my kid's life, or for the kid. What's the purpose? Hey, it's something that I love to do, something I identify with, something where I meet friends, something where I learn to be a young man or a young woman, a respectful person of society, learn to be a successful person, I learn to deal with these things, it's a safe environment, all these types of things, that the purpose of what I want to get out of it. And then you have your goals that are maybe the results, right? Like make the NHL, make college hockey, and those are the things that are the unpredictables. We set so we have a plan. It's a fluent plan, right? We set this, these are the targets. We're in NHL, so we got college hockey, we got junior A hockey, we got junior B, we got 18 AAA, 16 AA. Maybe so now you're coming along this plan you have, but in your plan it's 12A to 12 AA, and Johnny doesn't make the AA team this year. It doesn't mean the whole thing is thrown in the garbage, right? It's all these things that have happened along the way. Oh, my kid found something they love. We've enjoyed coming to watch him play. He's met great friends. He's improved. He's succeeded some things. He used to cry all the time when he lost the game. Now he knows how to work hard and get better. And now he didn't make the AA team this year, or the A team, or the AAA team. Okay, let's look at the plan. So here's where we're at. We make the adjustment, and now is where we go to the next step. It doesn't just throw the whole thing in the trash.
And the challenging thing with youth hockey is it's not just the kid, the family, the parent, the support system is part of that, right? They're not necessarily part of the results, right? So when the results happen, that's gravy, right? They make the top team, they play junior, they play college. They're a big integral part of the process. Yeah. So if they're only fixated on the results and not enjoying the process, it's not going to work for anyone. So that means Sunday, 7 a.m., we got a game. Oh, it's another Sunday, 7 a.m. game as a parent, right? Oh, I'm stuck in traffic. I got to drive Johnny to practice after work. The commitment level of parents is unbelievable, and I want to thank parents every day about hockey and their commitment, because they do. It's unbelievable what they do. There's a huge commitment out of people, right? And you have to have the commitment for your kids to be in the right environment and have the right success, right? But it's important that they're part of that process. So when they're stuck in traffic, when it's that early game, when bad refereeing, all these things that come up in not just kids' lives, but the parent too, is being able to have a purpose, understand the passion and love your child has for that, and make sure you're supporting their journey and their process. Because if we're not on board with that, there's going to be these conflicting things that, okay, dad wants this, mom wants this, child wants this, and it's not going to be seamless, and it's not going to be, the support system is not going to be aligned. So it's really important that support system is aligned in the youth hockey process with the player, so everyone understands what the goals are, what my top goal is, my intermediate, all these like 5, 6, 7 goals are, right? What is the purpose of why we're doing this? What this can serve us, serve us as a family, what we can gain from this experience. How can this impact our lives? How can it impact the community? It's a lot there, right? But, are we taking the time to think through these things? It's important, and I hope some of the stuff that we talk about on here makes people take a step back and think about the perspective of, how important this youth hockey sports is, because it's really important. Youth sports is really important because it can make a significant impact on kids and families' lives, and that's why we spend these times thinking and talking about these things, because it really can affect the kids' lives for forever. And that's why it's important to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, and because at the end of the day, we can't control the result, right? If you could just plug some formula in place and then the kid's going to be an NHL player, everyone would just do that, right? So we can't control the result. And certainly the supporting cast people have even less control over the result. The person that has the most control over the result is the actual athlete player themselves, if they're going to decide to put everything they have as they get older into achieving those goals, changing their eating habits, their sleeping habits, how much they work out, what they sacrifice going out with their buddies, doing all that stuff in order to make it to the next level. And even with all these people, all the people doing all those things to support it, the result could not happen, right? Could be an injury. You talked about a player that's trying to compete at the next level. They're a high-level player. They have an opportunity to go to this camp, and then they get injured right before the camp, right? And who can predict or control it? So now what do they do? And there's players that get career-ending injuries. Or I had a friend I played with in college that was one of the top players and had too many concussions and had to stop playing. But if we can't enjoy the process that goes into it, everything becomes a failure. Now you get an injury and everything was a waste. Everything was a waste of time and effort versus enjoying that process, understanding that we have this goal that we're working towards the results. We don't control this. We're going to enjoy it no matter what. And then if you can live that process out, it could be a success no matter where the results fall.
Yeah, and they say at the highest levels is you hear interviews from NHL coaches, right? Control what you can control, right? So control what you can control. We can control how we play, how we show up, our effort levels, our attitudes, right? Those are the two big things talking about is effort and attitude. We can control those no matter what, all the time. We can control those, right? There's going to be things coming at us trying to affect those things, right? And how do we handle that? So it really comes down to that, having that perspective and that mindset of, okay, I just blew up my shoulder. I'm done for the season. That happened to me. What do I do with that? How do I mentally put myself in a good place? How do I physically put myself in a place to not just disengage with the whole process?
You had probably a lot of goals in mind at that point, right? Yeah. And all of a sudden that stuff's derailed, right? Maybe you wanted a certain level of stats that season in order to get noticed by this. Maybe there was coaches coming out to some of the games that now you weren't going to be at, or maybe a kid, right? So maybe talk about some of the specifics, like how does that change
I think
your whole plan?
Injuries completely change your plan, right? Depending if it's a short-term or long-term injury, obviously, and what it is, but it can totally affect your future. So when you're injured, this is one of the hardest thing mentally as an athlete, especially when you get older, there's more injuries, right? Younger, a lot of science behind why they're not getting injuries. And then as they get older, there's going to be more injuries, right? How do you mentally put yourself in the position to, one, get better, right? Two, get into a healthy mindset of actually using the time to improve as a player. Well, what do you mean? I can't skate. I can't. Well, there's a lot of things you can do as a hockey player without actually playing hockey, right? There's a ton of stuff. There's video work, watching games, studying, learning, all these different things you can get better at, right? Still being part of the team, showing up for team practice, being in the room.
That's something I see less and less of these
totally,
days, right?
Right?
I remember when I broke my ankle playing bantam hockey, whatever, I came to every practice and every game with the team, right?
Right, and these are all these things, and sitting in the dressing room, learning, like all these things, those are team leadership things. These are all things that are the bigger part of hockey. That's why hockey is such a powerful tool of learning, is because, and that's why when you're looking to, maybe you go into the workforce and have some sort of job, is all these skills that you're developing, is that most jobs you're working in a team of some sort, right? A lot of jobs are. So the team or communication skills, leadership skills, those aren't that's not working on my left turn and my snapshot. These are big life skills that, hey, if we let one little negative thing happen or affect me, if I get injured and that's it and I quit, man, I'm quitting on more than just my hockey. I'm quitting on my life and my life skills and developing these other things. So it's really critical.
And that's the perspective you talked about, Paul, right? So as you're a parent, and I'm a parent of two beautiful little girls now, right? And when something happens that's not according to plan or outside your control, they don't make the whatever team, they lose the game because the referee made a tough call. Yeah. The coach put my kid in a position that's not their best position. They struggled, and I'm as a parent watching them, and they're struggling. The perspective to say, what's the opportunity here, right? That was hard. That was unfair. Yeah. That was not right. That was maybe that other coach and other teams being a crazy person or whatever it is. What's the versus me getting so caught up in that result and just being angry and that, or what's the opportunity here for my child to learn something and develop something that we can't control other people, that we have things that happen to us that are not fair. How do we respond to those types of things? And then look at the process as a positive.
Easier said than done.
Yeah.
Right? I think every parent will say, well, yeah, it's easy to say that, right? Your kid's not playing hockey right now or whatever it is, or I don't have kids. Like, people are going to say that. What I would say, a great, and I just want to mention this because I just came to top of my head, a great resource is the Changing the Game project. And there's an article called Release Your Child to the Game. And that's what, if you can get to that, where you release them or her to the actual game of hockey or youth sports, and you let it become their experience and only their experience, and you're just there for support system and help them teach those life lessons. We talk about being a second goal parent, right? Is let the athletes and the coaches focus on winning, trying to win the game, and the parent focus on teaching life lessons through sport, that second goal. And if you can get to that, I'm not saying it's easy, right? I know as a coach, as coaching from junior hockey, being a college and professional athlete myself, and now coaching 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds and not letting the end result of a scoreboard affect how I deliver the programming to the kids, I have to have that in perspective, right? If we all can get that in perspective and what's really important for this experience and releasing the kids to the game and what it can do for the kids, and then being there to help them learn and grow from these opportunities and adversities that are presented that's the game changer. And it's a really tough process. And that's why this youth sports, this youth hockey thing, it's not just a learning environment for the kids. It's a learning environment for myself, for Ben, for all the coaches, all the parents, everyone involved. It's such a challenging environment. And there's all these outside things that are coming at us and trying to attack a healthy, positive learning environment. It's a perfect opportunity for kids to learn and develop.
Absolutely. and I'm going through this right now. This is what I do. I've been in every coaching course and things there is, right? Yeah. And I have a 6-year-old who's started soccer, starting hockey, whatever. Yeah. And I can't be if I'm not the coach, right? I got to bite my tongue. I got to figure out what's right to balance these things, right? And so I'm starting to understand what it is as a parent and to focus on the perspective and the kid's journey, right? So, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. And that's why just like finding the right program and doing the right research, making sure it's age-appropriate training. I know we always come back to, but age-appropriate training is critical for this because that affects the whole process. If you're not doing age-appropriate training, you're not following the right process. That's number one, right? So doing that and making sure it's fun. It has to be fun. From 6 years old to the National Hockey League, it has to be fun. If it's not fun, there's not that passion to pursue it, to master the sport you're in, right? So those are critical. And releasing your child and letting there be time for free play with any kind of sport they're doing. Letting them play hockey, not drill hockey, right? And that's really critical.
Right. So, okay, great. So just to summarize, right, we have allow for the dream, right? Allow them to dream. Allow your kids to dream. Set big goals. Have the courage to set those big goals.
Set more than one goal as well. Have a ladder of goals is important.
Right. And then have that plan. Reverse engineer that plan of understanding. Okay, we're back. Sorry, everyone. Quick summary of episode number 25. We talked about having the dream, allow our kids to have the dream, setting big goals, setting a ladder of those goals as we go down the steps, reverse engineering that process so we know the steps and the pathways we can to get there, and then making sure we're in the right environment to achieve those goals, an environment with people we trust, and age-appropriate ladder of development up the way.
Yeah, you have to enjoy the process, right? So you have to remember that there's things that aren't going to go according to plan, right? There's going to be adversity, and looking at the positivity of it, looking at the opportunity, the challenge, how we handle adversity, how we react to that is going to really change the direction of your child's development, and making sure we're all aligned and we all have the same purpose on what sports can give to our child. So it's important that we have that alignment right away from day one, and we're all pushing for the right direction and understanding that there's going to be these challenges and adversities that come up, but how we react and how we handle them and look at them as learning opportunities is really going to affect the end result. Right, and that's important that we all are on the same page with that, and we're all pulling the same rope, because at the end of the day, we want all our kids and our families to succeed and make this a really important, life-changing experience for them. And we know youth sports is the best platform that if we release them to the game, right, and have that mindset of we're here to help teach our kids life lessons through sport, and then all the result-based goals are gravy if we do the right things and enjoy the process, enjoy the moment, enjoy the early mornings with your child, enjoy getting stuck in traffic and spending time with your kids, right? So enjoying all these things that come up, so we make sure we deliver them in the right process and enjoy the life of the youth sports and what it can provide for them.
Great. So set big goals, dream, and enjoy the ride with your kid along the way. We'll see you guys next. Actually, we're off next Monday and back on the following Monday, 3 o'clock Pacific. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. Thanks, everyone, for watching.